Welcome back in, guys. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you for being here for so many hours. Guys, this has been so much fun, and it just gets better. We've got a great panel of great independent creators coming on. But before we do that, I just want to take a second and plug tonight at 10 o'clock on all of our platforms, Nerd Killer Warfare. You get to watch nerds argue with other nerds about nerdy things. Hosted by Miss Jen. So that'll be super fun. I will be here pressing the buttons. But right now, I'm going to get out of the way and bring on our tremendous group of guests. Corey De La Guardia, Travis Gibb, Nicole Fernandez, William K. Holland, Jonathan Hedrick, and Don Nguyen. Oh, see, there's too much talent on the screen. I'm leaving because I'm just dragging the whole thing down.
Oh my gosh, I can hang out with all my friends.
Hello, everybody.
All day.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hello.
Oh, I forgot to wear my beard today. Oh,
So-
Just
So
drop
did
your
Dawn.
hair up, Jen.
The Nicole's already blended in. We're ready to go.
We got it. We're good. Hi, all my friends. How is everybody doing? How's everyone feeling?
Good.
Good. Awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
Got my first COVID haircut today. I'm ready to go.
You look
I've,
good.
I've gotten full Wolverine, except for the
Oh.
sideburns because I can't grow facial hair.
Aw.
You're looking good. It's getting high.
Thank you.
I'm gonna because there's so many of us and there's a high potential for us to all talk over each other. I'll just go kind of like around the horn and give everybody their time, so that everybody has a good amount of time here. It'll seem like an hour won't give us enough time for everybody, but I promise we've got this down to a fine art. So we'll start with Don because Don did something amazing for this event. He lent his amazing and considerable talents to doing something I did not know that he had in his talent box, which was to make the most beautiful graphics for all of our guests to share out.
I missed that.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I don't think everybody was in on the group. I know Kyle had a lot on his plate, and I was like, oh, maybe I could help him out a bit. And so I thought I would jump in and try to help out as best as I can.
So I met Don, I think, through Plan C. Is this correct?
Yes, we met through Plan C because you opened up the channel, and a friend had invited me. I think it was Kaden Phoenix, who does a Jalisco comic, and she's fantastic. And then you picked up Pablo the Gorilla, so thank you very much for that and promoted it. And the book has been doing well, and hopefully when cons come back, I'll be able to promote it a little bit more as I'm working on number 2 right now.
It's an amazing book. It's kind of an interesting take because I don't know if I would ever let a gorilla with kind of a mechanical robot arm deliver my pizzas, but it seems to work out really well for Pablo. Why does he deliver pizza?
The comic started out with the idea that you could live in the big city and not be noticed at all, even if you were a giant albino cyborg gorilla. So that's where the joke came from. And then the other one is, in the back of my head, it's like, oh, how awesome would it be if Pablo could deliver pizza to the Ninja Turtles? So we're gonna keep hoping on that one to happen.
Start the letter campaign.
That's right.
I like it better than like defaulting to the obligatory photographer or reporter or crime scene technician, which kind of like is what happens to most heroes as their side job.
Yeah, and pizza delivery or just food delivery in general has, I think, been ranked in the last 2 decades as always one of like the top 10 most dangerous jobs in the country. So what better predicament to put a gorilla that just wants to live a normal life and then to have him deliver pizza?
So was Pablo the first of your work in comic books, or did you have some things that happened before?
I have a few things going on, but yeah, Pablo is my very first creator-owned comic that I've released. I used to run a daily sketch blog called Winging It, so some people know me from that, and I participated in Inktober, and I actually have a best-selling book. My book with Andy Nordval, Siren Song for Inktober, is an official Inktober project that was released through Ingram Spark, so it's on Barnes & Noble and on Amazon, and it hit the Kindle #1 over a Star Wars book and 2 Legend of Zelda art books, as we like to say. So yeah, we were #1 in an actual category, not like in some weird subcategory. It was for sci-fi and fantasy illustration.
I think probably everybody in the group knows what Inktober is, but maybe some of our viewers don't. What is Inktober?
Inktober was created by designer and illustrator Jake Parker, where he wanted to improve his skills. I think he started it maybe a hashtag 6 or 7 years ago. And the idea was for every day of October, you would do a completed ink drawing to improve your skills. And then his hashtag caught fire, and hundreds of thousands of artists, I believe, participated in it every year. And now it's expanded into different offshoots. There's Drawtober, and then there's different themed ones. But as far as I know, he was the first person to do it.
That's awesome. All right, so this is like a weird question, but I always feel like people kind of like create real close to home. Is there something about Pablo that you identify with?
I think growing up and being a comic book fan and a geek, you always have like this weird sense of being on the outside in some cases, but yet also wanting to belong to something. And that's ultimately the idea behind Pablo for me. And then the whole pizza thing, the pizza place is actually based on an actual place that my wife and I used to go to in a neighborhood that we lived in. So I'll leave it at that. And then if you guys meet me in person, I'll tell you what the pizza place is, because it's fantastic. So if you're ever in LA and we're back to non-COVID times, non-pandemic times, I'd love to take anybody who comes out here that way, if hopefully they're still up and running.
So wait, you don't want to share their name because you're afraid everyone will go there and it won't be your secret hole in the wall anymore?
Yeah, that's basically what's going on. I love them, but I also love being able to get into a pizza place and like get out. And the place is fantastic for pizza and for their meatball sub.
Mm-hmm. Something else I'm also learning this weekend is that there are a great many people that are very creative and work in the comic book industry, but they also have another career that they do, whether it's just as a hobby or their main source of income. Do you have another thing that you also do?
For me, no. I left a job with the think tank, the Rand Corporation, almost 8 years ago, just to do this. It's always been a dream to be a comic booker and make some free books. And, I kept drawing at everything at work. And eventually my coworkers were like, it seems like you want to be doing something else. And I was like, yeah, I think I kind of do. I was in a fortunate position where my wife, because at that point she was working her way into her industry. She's a television editor. And she got really well established and she's done really well for herself. And she's like, hey, if you want to transition and you think this is something you want to do as your career, now's the time to do it. And I've been really fortunate and really lucky the last few years for all the opportunities that have come my way.
Is there anything you really miss about being able to do your previous job, or you're just really happy to be doing what you're doing and never going to look back?
Yeah, I'm never going to look back. Don't get me wrong. The Rand Corporation has done some phenomenal work. Before I left, I helped with a veterans project. The data that came out for that went towards the Wounded Warriors project. And that was something I was really proud to be involved with. And, I've helped out with other projects for the CDC, NIH grant projects. So being able to do that was very fulfilling. My coworkers were spectacular. I couldn't have asked for a better group of people to work with, but there's just always been an itch just to draw and to make things. And I'm really privileged to be at the point where I can do that right now.
Well, I'm looking forward to issue 2. You have an ETA?
No, because I'm working on 3 books simultaneously. So I'm writing Pablo the Gorilla number 2. My working title is Dropping the Deuce. And then I'm working on a book with Michael Tanner right now called Battle, Grapple, Rebel. I'm in the middle of doing fine pencils on that. Hopefully that'll be done soon, and then we're going to be shopping that around. We'll see how that goes. And I'm also working on a book that's an adaptation from a short film I did that was at the Dances with Film Festival out here in LA in 2019 called Retro with my friend Aaron Lindenthaler. And so I'm laying out that book right now. I'm just trying to get it all out there, hopefully within this first quarter, Q1, Q2. So wish me luck. And there's a bunch of other stuff that's coming out as well that I was a part of a few Kickstarters in the end of last year, one of which was with Travis over here. We did Cthulhu Invades Oz, and gearing up for another one. There you go. So yeah, I last year was oddly, as bad as 2020 was for a lot of people. I was thankful to find a respite in being creative still, and I'm really thankful for all the opportunities that came my way.
Well, I'm so glad that we hooked up, because I can't imagine my shop without Pablo on the rack anymore.
Well, thank you.
Perfect. It's a good thing to hand to people that are like, "Well, I don't know what I like." Like, here, try this. Okay. You don't have to explain very much. You're like, it's a gorilla with a cybernetic arm and Builder's Pizza. Go.
Yeah.
It's a perfect pitch.
I feel like it should sell itself, right? That's it. Yeah.
Super easy. All right, Corey, the DLG.
Hello.
Peeps. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you? You've got to be exhausted by now. You had inventory last weekend, and then now you're doing this. Then you launched CBSE, and now so do you sleep 2023? Is that what you scheduled that for?
What I don't tell anybody is I'm actually a vampire, so I don't need to sleep.
The legacy grows.
I am the creature of the night. No, I just drink lots of coffee.
That's fair.
And just push off sleep until 50 years from now, and I'm retired. I'll be good.
I want to move my camera. There we go.
That's good.
I'm never in the middle of my camera. I don't know why.
Your glorious beard is so long that it's off camera.
That's the secret. That's how you know it's a good camera beard.
You need to start braiding cool things into it at this point.
I'm not brave enough to like the Viking writing on the side of my face, but that would be next. That would be the next thing to happen.
Yes. All right. So you are so talented. You've got multi things you're working on all the time. It's hard to probably keep you nailed down to the one thing that you're doing at any moment. You're probably thinking about all the other things that you need or want to do.
That's 100% accurate, actually. That is, every time I start to work on something, I start to wonder, like, oh no, where am I at on everything else? But it's very fun to do that. For those who don't know me, right over Jen's shoulders there are my two friends, Another Day at the Office, my very first comic book ever, and then next to it is the follow-up issue is the start of a 3-issue miniseries. I'm doing that, as well as I just released my new comic, DMA, Department of Metahuman Affairs. I don't think I have any over there with you. I probably should have left you one, but I didn't think about it.
No, I have it over here. It's in a pile that I'm not going to be able to find.
And I also host and own my own radio show, Nerd Thug Radio. So yeah, my head's always spinning. And then I just got excited when Miss Jen launched CBSE, and I said, please let me do something. So I've got something in with her, and then she's gonna probably tell me no, because I do like 10 things. So.
So what was the first thing you did creatively? Where did you start? Was it the Nerd Thug Radio first?
It was. I grew up like just into all the nerdy stuff and really loving comic books and cartoons and video games, but I always had boring day jobs. And eventually, a friend of a friend is the baby mama of 90s rapper Big Yang, and he bought a hip-hop internet music station called Money Green Music, and I jokingly said, well, obviously I need to have a show on your station. And Big Yang said, cool, I'll give you 2 hours on Sunday, rent's due on the 1st. And that was like the whole conversation. And I was like, wait, what? And so then I had to kind of figure out how to make a radio show, and that kind of started the whole journey. So that was 2016. Years?
Yeah.
We're now on FM radio on 106.5 and 104.1. And we've also now added a sports show, and we've just it's been crazy, and there's been good times and bad times, and there's been times we had like 10 sponsors, and now we're down to one. The Adventure Begins, comics, games, and more, right here in Conroe on 1488. And we're having a great time. We're making it work, and we enjoy it.
Yeah, I've actually seen pictures of the studio. It looks really nice. What a great place.
Oh yeah, Bill, much like you, the passion that he has for what he's doing, it shows. Just they go all out. And then also the studio you're talking about, Lone Star Community Radio.
Mhm.
They've Dick just remodeled it last year, right before COVID. For a long time, it really felt like, and I can say this because I know him and I know he knows this. It felt like we were recording like in a closet, kind of. And he kept always telling us, he'd be like, "Hey, we're remodeling really soon. Like, just be patient. We're getting the stuff together for it." And now that studio is gorgeous.
So what's the secret to keeping like talk radio podcast kind of form? How do you keep it fresh for yourself?
So I think I'm just a weird freak, and I can just talk about anything for any length of time. Like if someone ever needed just a verbal essay of some kind, they were like, "Corey, we need 10 minutes on SpaghettiOs. Go!" Like, I got you. I could do it. And it actually a real fear of ours when we got started. Me and Joey Savage, the captain, when we got started, we weren't sure that we could even talk on any one topic for any real length of time, and so we did a fake, like we did like a pilot, and we timed ourselves. We wound up doing like 45 minutes on the Daredevil pilot with like no real intro or exit or any, just talking about it. And we went, okay, we could definitely do an hour on anything, so we're good.
Oh yeah. So tell us a little bit about Another Day at the Office. What's the pitch for the book?
So Another Day at the Office, the pitch is probably the most fun thing about it. It's a cop in a city full of superheroes, and really he would rather he get to do his job, but it's kind of sexier when the superheroes do it. And so everyone just lets them kind of have their way with it. It's almost like if he was like in a city full of celebrities and they were like, "Oh no, we'll just let them do it." And so like he never really gets to do his job. And so the first issue is really just a story. It's a single issue story of a guy just frustrated at his gig and just wishes he could get into the stuff that he loves, but all these other people are getting to do it first, even though there's no qualifications or intelligence behind it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny. We had a real joke about this the other day that I thought that the first issue that I bought was the exact same as the second one, which was a pretty cover. And so like, uh-oh.
Yeah, we were doing the thing on CBSN, and Another Day at the Office is a really cool thing in history I'm very proud of, is that it was the first variant exclusive for sale on CBSN.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we came back and we did this next issue, you were like, "Yeah, it's just a reprint with this beautiful cover," and I was like, "No, it's a new story," and you went, "What?" And yeah, it does. It kicks off a new miniseries.
The exact same title and number.
Yeah, I know. I recognized that afterwards, and Bill was like, "I have to add something because the computer won't let me just make it another number one." And I went, "Oh yeah, that's a good point." I'm definitely learning as I go through this process.
Next time, just another day in the office.
Anotherist day at the office.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. All right, Travis, you've been waiting very patiently, sir. You've got a million things to talk about. How have you been?
Good. I've been really good. Yeah. A lot of things going on with me. Creating tons of books and keep doing it. We have our first quarter is stacked. We're right now we're shipping out, the Cthulhu Invades Oz, which, as Don said, we've got both Jonathan Hendricks and Don in it. So we've got two people on your panel who are in the book. Broke Down 4 is finished. We're just waiting for time to go on Kickstarter. So that'll be, the next Kickstarter probably in February. And then also Voodoo Nations is halfway done right now as well. So issue 2 of that will be done in March. So that's our beginning quarter is pretty busy.
Oh yeah. So the two books that I love of yours, of course, Broke Down and 4 Dead Bodies and Voodoo Nation, are so different from each other. How do you approach your creative process? What inspired you for both those books?
For Broke Down, I really wanted to, I was looking at the genre of crime in comic books. And this is before I was heavy in the indie scene. This is more when I was buying, stuff at the comic stores. I found that every crime story had an extra element, right? Whether it's a small supernatural element, the small Cthulhu element, even 100 Bullets has this crazy government conspiracy shenanigans, right? So I was just like, it works in movies. Quentin Tarantino, all those guys are just gangsters, right? Let's do that. So I really wanted to write that because that's the movies I love. When I'm renting or buying a movie, it's probably crime. Like I really dig that stuff. When I do like a Voodoo Nations, and my process is a little different, I get into, I'm actually a pastor, believe it or not. You wouldn't believe that if you read Broke Down. But Voodoo kind of tabs into that, but I really wanted to hit the horror, but I really wanted to do a slow pacing comic book, you know, that kind of builds a horror theme out through and makes it, and it's been doing really well. You know, if you look over at Vault, like Automo is like the slowest book in the world, and then you get to issue 4 and you're like, what?
Mhm. Absolutely. So for Voodoo Nation, of course, it deals with Bishop, which is like a very, very evil voodoo character.
Yeah.
Did you do a lot of research to be able to write his character?
I did, yeah. I did a lot of stuff, and then I kind of threw it out the window a little bit for fun. You know, it's kind of a spoiler, kind of not, but Bishop isn't a actual voodoo priest name. You know, in the voodoo religion, Bishop isn't. That's actually a Christian stuff. And how does that play into, and why does he have this vendetta against Christian? Will really play into why he has that. We're going to reveal that in the 4-issue arcs, but playing that in and playing out what makes my story interesting is, unlike other religions, voodoo is not organized. Basically, you know, you got taught as a child the different things. There's not like a set books. There's a couple of small like scripture manifests that they have, but they're not really an organized religion. So someone who's studying voodoo or voodoo, as is what it's called, in Africa is not the same as someone doing it in Honduras or Haiti or New Orleans. It's all completely different. It's not like the Christian faith or the Buddhist faith where they're just ostrich. So that was really interesting. So when I came up with Voodoo Nations, that's the premise and the backbone of the book. And what we start figuring out in issue 2 is there is an organized religion. What does that look like, and who runs that? And that's why it's called Voodoo Nations, not just Voodoo Nation.
What, the art is gorgeous in both.
Thank you.
So excited. So I'm going to jump back to also the other book. So it's so interesting that the way you've broke down almost feels like a buddy cop book, but they're obviously not cops. They're both very bad. They're like bad guys. They work for organized crime.
Right.
And one of them just did a stint in prison and comes out, and he, you know, you think he'd get rewarded for keeping his mouth shut behind bars because, you know, snitches get stitches. But his boss essentially puts him in an impossible situation, probably with the idea that he would not make it out alive, either him or the person he sends to go do it with him. But they're forced in this crazy situation where they have to rely on each other to survive. It's a crazy concept. I mean, do you have any background in like law or
no? So here is my background. My parents were both drug addicts, and I say that not to like mock it, but I saw the people like that. I saw people who did crazy, stupid things and got into crazy, stupid things. No, I've never witnessed a murder or whatnot, but I have been into a casino behind a hotel. It's a regular hotel that sits somewhere, and there's a small casino with like 5 or 6, slot machines. And what do you do at 16 trying to figure these things out? But one of the things I realized about drug addicts or people who do crime, my best friend, who I gave honor to in issue 3, literally died with a shootout with cops because he was a small little drug lord in New Hampshire. So all these people are all connected. And what I love about these people and growing up into that, I know that there's good in each of them. So when I write crime, what I love about it is getting that they think they're good or they're doing something for someone. That's their moral compass trying in this crazy world and scenario. And a lot of times they're just trying to get out. So when I write that, I build it. And that's why, each issue starts with a 5-page flashback about a character. So you can kind of learn a little bit about them, and it kind of unveils some stuff. And I'm super excited. So I don't know if you know this, Jen, but issue 4 is the last one for a while. So that wraps up everything. So Broke Down 4 Dead Bodies will be done, and then we'll come up with a trade probably close to the end of the year, which is really cool. So that's kind of done, and that's super exciting for me. It's my first finished work, like from start to finish. Cthulhu Invades Oz is also finished, but that's kind of an anthology, so that I didn't do everything. This is one that I did everything with.
Okay, you've got to tell me, are you the kind of person that leaves things with a cliffhanger, or you wrap up a story arc?
So everything is wrapped up, but there's, of course, hooks if we want to continue. But everything that's important to Broke Down in 4 Dead Bodies, all the questions that you want answered will be answered. I do have potential to do some other stuff, but I've got a full plate. I mean, just Jen, there's like, you and I have to talk off air at some point. There's like 4 or 5 more projects this year that I plan on trying to somehow put out. So it's ridiculous. So
I'm down for all of them. Just write me down. Okay, so you've got Broke Down, which is obviously crime. You've got Voodoo Nation, which is obviously like spiritual, supernatural things. And then Oz looks like it's going to be fantasy.
Right.
You just like want to hit all of the different genres, right? You want to put your hand in all those buckets?
I do. I really want to stick to the, suspense and horror, the crime and horror. Like, I really like real people. But what I've noticed, when you create books, people really love a character. Like, I could put really Bishop Lucas on anything and someone will buy it. So they love characters, and that's what comics accelerate at, right? You get a gorilla who has Cyber on and selling pizza, someone will probably buy that. That's someone's stick, So trying to figure out the balance of writing the down-to-earth characters like I like, because, if I was ever a writer for Marvel or DC, I'd be a Nightwing. I'd be a Daredevil. I wouldn't be the Superman. I wouldn't be the Justice League. I'd be writing those street-level characters because that's where I'm at.
Yeah, we talked to Russell Noerty yesterday, and he's got a book that the name of it is Cthulhu is Hard to Spell.
Yeah.
It's like, that's why you have to put on the cover, because we're going to buy it.
Yeah, I'm in issue 2 of volume 2 of that, actually.
Mm-hmm. It's way cool. Anything you have that you can talk about that's coming out soon?
A lot of it I want to keep under wraps. The only thing I could talk about, because we're going to reveal a promo next week, is a book called Yellow. So Yellow is going to be a 3-issue miniseries, and what it's about is a supervolcano erupts. And if you don't know, when a supervolcano erupts, it actually clouds the air. So in like 1817, New Hampshire and the north United States actually had no summer. It actually made it cold, so they had a winter for years, and they couldn't see. There's a black cloud. So basically something like that happens, and organization tries to help the situation, and they make it worse. So the whole world goes dark. Everybody's fine. They're still getting sun. The sun's still coming through, so there is a little bit of heat, but the world's dark. And then this small area, Yellowstone National Park, becomes yellow. And a lot of people are trying to get there, and they're trying to figure out why that place gets sun and the rest don't. And that's what it's about.
Oh, love disaster anything. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, definitely put me down for all that.
Yes.
For sure.
Well, I'm excited. I'm going to be sending you the Cthulhu, by the way. That comes out pretty soon. We're getting the prints soon, so you'll be getting those within 30 days.
Ooh, love it. Love it. Love it. And to answer your question, Mike, we have all the contact information for everybody on the website. So we did plan ahead so that you can find everybody afterwards. But we are going to go at the very end of the panel and let everybody do their socials so you can connect with them. So don't worry. We've done this before. It's not our first video. All right, I'm going to hit Nicole up. Nicole, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. So Nicole has so many talents. She's a degree in, is it graphics arts design?
It's actually computer animation.
From Full Sail.
Yep.
Yep. And she's designed probably more toy packaging that you didn't know was designed by her. That it's really kind of an interesting thing you never think about. Who designs the package that's on the toy that you buy, but there are actually people that have to figure out where all those graphics go on that packaging, so it makes sense. And also she owns this really cool company called Bad Taco. Yeah. It's always Taco Tuesday.
Yeah, I know I'm not wearing my shirt today, but it is cold. So,
so how did you start? How did you know that that's what you wanted to do for a career?
I'll make my own merchandise or just go the art?
For the art part.
The art part, probably since I was just a little kid. Like I was always coloring and drawing stuff, especially dinosaurs. That was like my biggest inspiration. So Jurassic Park and all that stuff. I had all those books on that and animals, and I just always was drawing all the time. So my parents have all sorts of crazy doodles I had when I was a kid, and it was just something I always wanted to do. I thought maybe animation was going to be my thing, but it was computer animation is a lot different than traditional, like totally different that I did not expect, because you don't really draw it. You are mostly clicking a lot, and you are filming yourself. So you're constantly looking at yourself all the time, or your friends if you can get them enough to go have video for you. But I ended up not trying to pursue that, and then went back into graphic design and somehow discovered that I like making products and merchandise. So that's been fun to do. So just seeing your stuff actually physically come to life is pretty cool to see, especially on shelves and stuff.
Yeah. Let's see. What did you start doing first? Did you actually enter the market in doing the design for packaging, or designing actual products first, or did you?
It was actually freelance graphic design I got to do, and there was a few times I did. It's mostly just online advertising. We make banners for the newspaper and stuff. And then actually, through your store, I met Steve to get me that job to do packaging for his toy company. So then that had all sorts of ins to like Kotobukiya and Disney and Nintendo. So that was really interesting to just work with all those different companies, because they're definitely all different. Like they all have their own set of rules, and some of them are really just chill with whichever you want to do, and some of them are like you have to be by the book to a T. If you're not, we won't take it. So.
Are there any toy lines that people might have seen that have your work on them that they might like? Aha, that.
Well, it wouldn't per se be my work 100%, because what these companies do is so that everything looks the same and uniform. They give you an actual book. Has a CD with it, and it's like, these are the graphics you can use, and this is how you're supposed to make it look like. So, for example, with Star Wars, the year that I got to do the flash drives for PNY, their little figure flash drives, and they had a book, and they're like, this year it's just Darth Maul, and it's a really creepy picture of him for some reason, but it was his teeth showing, and you had to put him in the corner a certain way and everything perfectly aligned. So there's no super freedom in that. But with the KISS flash drives, they didn't have much of a graphics catalog, so they let me do kind of whatever with that. So that was kind of cool.
Did you ever get to do anything from scratch?
Probably when I did, there was a small company called Lumi that we were trying to work on, but we canceled that after a year. Because I think they kind of just put too much money into it and weren't getting too much out. But I got to do all sorts of packaging and everything. And so that was fun, because I actually had the freedom to design everything from the characters to what I wanted the characters to be on, whether it be pins, shirts, hats, whatever. And then they let me touch the packaging later, because it was too plain. And I said, I need some color to it, because that was their whole demographic, was like rainbows and colors and stuff. So fortunately, I think that didn't come out right towards the end, right when it was closing down. But it was cool to finally do something 100% for once.
Yeah, I saw the line because Nicole and I work together. So
yeah, I show you all the time what I do.
It breaks my heart that it didn't like go out to the wide world, because there's like corgi butt pins that I think everyone should own.
Everyone had a little story. Like there was a vegan brontosaurus, so he's all about just eating vegetables and everything and cooking, but he looks really derpy. Another one was a cat that was Jinx, and she's all mystical and stuff. And then he had the corgi, who he was like a battle corgi, so he would like fight little creatures and stuff. So yeah, I miss them. So I'm not too sure what I get to do with them, because they didn't tell me. So I just kind of have these designs I'm just sitting on. I'm hoping one day they'll say, yeah, you can just keep them. You can just do whatever you want with them.
That would be awesome. It would be, to me, it would be such a really cool thing if you could just launch the line yourself, like as a
I know.
low key launch the line.
It hurts because there's so much we never release that's just no one can see until one of those little contracts are done. Like, well, after 5 years, you can release this information. And it's
I think it would be really successful. My gut says that they should have just like stuck to it. I mean, maybe not this year.
Oh yeah, unfortunately, 2020 was when I really started working on my own business on Bad Taco. I was really like, okay, we're doing it. This year is the year, and then COVID hit, and I'm like, all right, no conventions. Okay, I don't know how to sell this stuff online. It's hard when you don't have, already a built-up following. But hopefully this year we can start maybe at the end of the year trying to get that vaccine. So
yeah, Nicole has a big rabid following that really loves. They want to see her at convention. She makes the best booths. The booths are so great.
I didn't decorate my office, but I mean, this is how I work, and it would be too much. And my cats sleep in here, so it's kind of hard to have.
Real life.
Yeah.
So what do you have coming for the future? What would you like to see happen?
So I want to try again this year, hoping, knock on wood, that this year goes okay, a little better than last year. And try to push up more lines of like different themes. Because what I want Bad Taco to be is kind of a mixture of everything I like, which is really cute stuff and then kind of like badass anime looking drawings. So just have like a mixture of both. So I want to have like a summer line that maybe has that kind of neon retro feel to it in the summer, have some shirts, just start out really little for a bit until it kind of can build up and I can actually make more merch than just stickers, right? And then maybe have something with like flowers and anime girls, but more like abstract. And then it'd be great if I could have vinyl figures. Oh, I'd love that. Like blind boxes, I'm a sucker for those. So if I had like little tacos and their own different, I don't know, costumes or something, and just have collectible little taco figure, I'd love to make those. But I tried resin, and it is very hard to deal with. So I just don't have the patience for it, or a garage because of my cats. So. Yeah, we all know how you have to have a completely dust-free environment if you want to do any resin casting. And cats make that possible. Yeah, it's kind of just like screen printing. You need like resin, you don't need a huge space, but screen printing you definitely do. But you need a good amount to air out at least some of that chemical smell, and it's going to dry, so you can't just have like floating cat hair going around and that stuff.
Let's see. Will, we haven't got to talk to you yet. Come on, my friend. Also multi-talented, super multi-talented. Will Holland, all the way out of Kentucky today.
Thank you. So
let's see. I think I know you first and foremost as a writer-illustrator. So let's talk about that. You've got a really cool character that I love, Pencil Ninja. How was Pencil Ninja born?
Pencil Ninja honestly was born one day. I was actually in a religion class in college, and we had to do a little mini presentation. And so the presentation was find a way to talk about yourself and your faith. And so I went to a resale shop in town, and I found a little Krillin action figure from Dragon Ball Z. And so I painted him up to look like me as much as I could, but of course it's a kid version of myself. So I did the little glasses and painted them on and everything. And then I was like, well, wait a minute. What if I took this? And when I was in college with my mother, we actually created a comic strip called Trey, which was a story about a little boy who was running around with his mom and just different little educational things. We tried to kind of deal with different things and social ills, but through the mindset of an 8-year-old. And so then I kind of combined the two things and then created this story about a sugar-powered robot boy who was 8 years old in his body-wise, rather, and based off of something that a youth minister, a young youth minister working in the inner city would do drawings every week and teach lessons to the kids. And then he unfortunately lost his life due to a drive-by shooting. So his father, kind of as a way to honor him, builds the robot version of Pencil Ninja.
I love the positive message that you put in all of your books. It's really kind of a good way to like reach like kiddos maybe they're having a hard time, because you address often like pretty real life problems that they might encounter.
Yeah, I try to do a lot of stuff with whether it be bullying, whether it be stuff like the value of self-importance, understanding that you have value. I try to do things like about sharing and things like that, about being grateful. I even do stuff where we're dealing with stuff like obviously Santa's a spy. Just silly stuff where we can kind of talk about the importance of being in a position to give rather than to receive. So I try to always talk about stuff like that. I imagine, like, I build Pencil Ninja's world very similar to like Fat Albert back in the day, where like there are characters in Pencil Ninja's world that he may be reading about, or he may be watching cartoons about them. So I build out those characters so that way other people can see kind of his world, but through the eyes of different things he's influenced by.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And speaking of giving time, you have spent a lot of time in the last couple of years giving time to people and putting them on your podcast and really, giving them a lot of, but bringing them to the forefront with your ability to kind of really do a great job of interviewing them. How do you go about finding who you would like to interview, and how long have you been doing it in total?
I think December 19th of 2019, I believe, was the first episode of Conversations about ... and went through and started. Just my literal approach is blanket everywhere and hope and pray for responses. There are some situations where I won't get a response at all. There are other situations where people will be like, okay, yeah, sure. And then there's some people will be like, oh, well, I can do it, but it's going to be later. I'm working on project A, B, or C. Get back with me in a couple of months. And so I got to get a little calendar and put it down. Okay, here, reach back out to this person.
Yep. Organization is key. What is your background in? Did you go to school for either thing?
So originally, when I went to Campbellsville University, which is where I went to college, I majored in religious education with a minor in art. And so I've always drawn since I could hold a pencil, according to my mother. But when I started really wanting to develop the things that I was given an opportunities, I wanted to work on getting fundamentals down, things like perspective and things like that. And so I work hard to do that. And then over the last couple of years, I kind of had to teach myself graphics design, as far as book layouts and different things like that, and learning and trying to share those things. Like I look at like something like this guy here, it's just a short little story about Harbinger as a character that Pencil Ninja would read about. It's actually based off a character that I played in a Pathfinder campaign, but I really wanted to see where his story would go. And so I just started putting stuff together. And slowly but surely, I'm going to build this out. This is something I hope to build out over the next few months and try to get a bigger, full story on it.
Yeah, inspiration comes from very different places. That it's not like you don't have a bunch of people that haven't played Pathfinder that have also thought to themselves, this character needs to live in another world that people can read about it. So I think that's a really cool idea. All right, we got to talk to Jonathan Hedrick. I saw you sneak into the room, or at least you were just down low on the actual like little tiny screen that I can see. How are you doing, sir?
I slid in. Thank you.
You are a very, very busy person, time traveling to find out things that are going to happen in Recount next.
Right.
Do you get jet lag when you time travel?
Yes. Right.
So I know that's not true. When did you actually finish what you have in the can for Recount, and how surprised are you at how much is happening that kind of seems to mirror what's going on in that comic?
Yeah, I wrote all of Recount in 2019. So to see it play out, life imitate art in the way it has, it's been pretty strange and surreal. It's not what I would have hoped for, to be honest with you, because there was a lot of pain went into making sure this book didn't come across as agenda based. With having fictional politicians, it doesn't take much for anyone who wants to try to link it to a certain side. So, and that's why the words Republican and Democratic, were never used in the recount. While every character, their face isn't supposed to resemble anyone, in politics. So, to see events occur as they did the other week is really disappointing, to be honest with you, from creating this type of book.
Yeah, you read the book and think to yourself, this, if you didn't have this other frame of reference of things that are going on right now, it would just read as like, this could never happen. This is like, it's a great book of like, what if that would be really like so scary, the concept of the ultra violence that could occur around the events of an election. And it's so well written.
Thank you.
It's such a crazy thing that it happened at the same time.
Yeah, it's a shame. But yeah, like I said, 2019, there was already an odd, palpable political climate in the air, if you will. So it was meant to not be too far-fetched in the first place. So yeah, it is what it is.
Absolutely. All right. You have a bunch of other projects out. Tell everybody about all your other cool things.
Yeah, in addition to the recount, I have a superhero series called Capable, and I just ended a Kickstarter last week for that. That was successfully funded. So now there's 3 issues out for that book. That takes place in a world where people with disabilities all of a sudden start gaining superpowers that are opposite of what their handicap was. So yeah, I'm really excited about the success of that series. Issue 4 is already, the script's complete, so I'm going to get art for that started soon. Hopefully I'll get maybe 2 or 3 of those out in 2021. I also have a zombie universe, if you will, called Freak Show, 2 books so far, Freak Show Princess and Freak Show Kingdom. I'm sorry, Freak Show Knight. Freak Show Kingdom is what I'm calling the universe of the zombie story. Those 2 books came out last year, and more to come from that. Freak Show Knight actually is going to be come out through Diamond, be listed in Diamond next month. Freak Show Princess is being reprinted in a black and white version that's available for pre-order now through Diamond, called Mississippi Zombie 2. Mr. Travis Gibb is also in that anthology. So we have a clause that we have to work together if there's an anthology. It's just part of the deal. Because I have a story in Cthulhu Invades Oz. I was fortunate enough for Travis to ask me to write a story in that when I was still a very early comic book writer, youngling. So yeah. Then what else do I got going on? Brian Silverbacks and I had something coming out soon on Kickstarter in April called Tales from Kara Prime, which is a lot of his characters, a lot of short stories to flesh out more of those characters other than Loggerhead. I'll have a story in that. Then in the Kara Prime universe, I wrote basically a follow-up to Loggerhead. That's going to be called Arctica Cold Blood. And Loggerhead makes an appearance in this story. So if you're fans of that, check that out later on this year. And yeah, I've got some other secret projects that I'm not ready to announce yet, but if you follow me on the social medias, you might learn about it sooner.
Oh yeah. It's probably time to start the rounds for social media. So go in reverse order in the way you were interviewed. Give your social medias, and kind of if you didn't say what your next project is coming out and where to find it, go ahead and add that too.
All right. Jonathan Hedrick, spelt the way it is right here on Facebook. Twitter and Instagram the same way, but remove all the vowels. Just pre-order the recount at your local comic book store. Pre-order Mississippi Zombie 2. And yeah, thank you for your support.
Will, how do we find you?
Okay, so real quick, got some bundles, got a couple of book bundles available. You can go email me directly at will_holland@hotmail.com if you're interested in a book bundle. They're $25 plus shipping. So it's like 5 books in there for that. So you figure that out. And then I am available. My best way to find most of my books is actually going to be www.amazon.com/author/William Holland. And I didn't know if you wanted to talk about this or not, but because I'm not sure how you want to do that exactly.
Come up with a trivia question that I will come right back to you at the very end, and we'll give it away. How's that?
Okay, sounds good.
Nicole.
All right. Is this going to be backwards? Oh, no, it's not. Okay, cool. So there's my little business card, and you can find my Instagram at Bad Taco Shop on Instagram or badtacoshop.com. Just ignore this email. I have to get a new one. So that's for that. And then my personal art account where I just draw whatever fan art and whatnot. It'll be on that Bad Taco Instagram. We'll just say Des Fernan. And so the thing I'm trying to work on next are those flower anime girls. So just like a mixture of like let's say Lily of the Valley or something, and try to just have like that flower incorporated into the girl. So like the flower is like the hat or something, or they got tattoos, just something cool as shirts and pins. So.
Perfect. Mr. Gibb.
All right. You can find Broke Down and 4 Dead Bodies at brokedownand4deadbodies.com. Super easy. You can find Voodoo Nations at voodoonations.com. You can also buy them from Jen. Just message her. She's got them behind her right now. There's even an exclusive cover. I don't even have a copy of that exclusive cover because the mail is horrible. So if you want to get that gift from her, on Indiegogo, we still have Cthulhu Invades Oz, and that's until we start shipping the retail packages, and then you won't be able to get it. However, we did get some glow-in-the-dark Kickstarter exclusives. You're going to have to get that from our retailer partners. Jen as well will have that, so she'll have a couple of those. I don't even think she knew that. Jen, you may not have known that, but we unlocked glow-in-the-dark covers. So some of your covers are going to be more valuable and are going to be glow-in-the-dark. So that's super cool.
Oh, man. I'm going to find myself a dark room when those come in.
We'll plan a day. We'll have us all on. You can, we'll have the whole crew. We'll do some stuff for Space Cadets. It'll be fun.
I think we should absolutely do that.
Yeah, but that's me.
Yes, Corey.
Yes, I changed my thing there so you can see. That is my little secret shop where we sell everything. The Nerd Thug Radio T-shirts. We also, of course, sell digital versions of my books that are already done and out and released. Those are $1.99, or you can still get those in shop. My current project is Department of Meta-Human Affairs. There's a spicy cover to it, but it's a fun book about civil rights and superpowers and all of those kinds of things and the questions that it raises. I've got about 38 physical copies still left. You can get those at the website. Shout out to Speeding Bullet Comics in Oklahoma. They just bought 20 of them last week for the shelves. And so, that's it right there. CoreyDLG.squarespace.com. All the goodies, physical, digital, or apparel. I also want to say Will is awesome. Please get his books. That's a great deal. And those Bad Taco shirts are walking around Space Cadets all the time. And every time I see them, I go, "Oh, where did you get that? That is awesome!" And they go, "Oh, Nicole did it. She's in the back." And
I bought a shirt, but like I need to buy more.
Everyone's kicking the door and be like, "Nicole, give me a shirt." So I'm excited for you to get a little store set up. That's going to be awesome. And I did want to ask the guy who did Recount, Jonathan, was that just the creepiest thing for you? That it's something a year ago you wrote, like to see it kind of unfold on TV that day? What was that like?
January 6th was an odd day. I don't want to compare myself to any particular authors or whatever, but I remember reading this interview about Stephen King saying how drugged up and coked up or whatever he was when he wrote Cujo. He didn't even really remember writing Cujo. But when he saw it in the movie theater for the first time, he was like, "Whoa!" But I had a complete opposite reaction on January 6th. I was like, "Whoa!" Because you really can't tell if this is going to hurt the book or help the sales. But that's the least of my concern, honestly. rather,
No, I think Miss Shin did the most awesome thing and put you up on her Facebook page that day where she was like, "This guy can see the future," and it's not to capitalize on a terrible event. I want to make sure I understand what you're saying, but I thought it was crazy. I didn't mean to hijack Miss Shin. I had to know what that was. There's no way that wasn't the weirdest thing in the world.
Thank you for asking.
Interviewers always want to interview. I get it. Don, give us your socials.
You can see I'm very good at branding.
Yeah.
So you can find me on almost every social media platform at Winning It, or the major ones at least. I'm also at winningit.com. You can find Siren Song, the Inktober project, on Amazon. I have an Etsy shop set up for my comic Pablo the Gorilla, which features a Dustin Wynn variant. Not related to me, he's just a really good friend. So two-time Eisner winner, shout out to him. And then at the end of the month, shout out to Carla Gadecki, who does the comic Duplicate. Her Kickstarter has just been delivered, a little postcard by me, but I am doing some original art cards for her. And she's looking to launch at the end of this month, the beginning of next. So shout out to her. I have a pinup for Monster Matador with Stephen Prince and Fabio Alves, Ringo nominees. So that has also been delivered, and that's out. Travis and his book is coming out, as well as Russell Nolte's book, The Terrible Twos. You can find that at Wannabe Press. And I recently did a super limited set of Marvel Anime sketch cards, and those are starting to make their way around, but I believe the boxes are really hard to find. So if anybody finds one of my sketch cards, please give me a shout out. Let me know.
All right, we're going back around all the way to Will and do the giveaway. But first, we're going to go in reverse order again. You have a secret hidden talent. I want to know what it is. So if it's like cooking, you secretly can like skate and do pirouette. What is it? What is your secret hidden talent no one knows about?
Oh my god, that's hard. I definitely can cook. I honestly don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna have to pass. I'm pretty open about everything that I do, I think.
Cooking's good.
Cooking's good. I love to eat. That's probably my secret hidden talent right there.
Travis, what's your secret hidden talent?
I am actually a pretty well-known storyteller for White Wolf, and did giant LARPs of over 200 people for White Wolf, for Werewolf and Vampire Masquerade. Wow. That's my secret talent, is being able to hoard goth kids in hordes of over 20. That's very impressive. Over 20, they get dangerous. They charge.
Hedrick, what's your secret hidden talent?
I sing really well in the shower and in my car. For some reason, it's just those places. But yeah, you should hear, if anyone ever takes a shower with me, you are going to be so impressed by my singing, specifically my singing.
And I live near him, so if you'd like me to take a shower with him and record it for you, we can make this happen. You just got to make sure we do it live.
This got so weird so fast. Cole, your turn.
I don't want to say the same thing, but like I don't like singing in public or in front of anybody, but I'll sing to myself. Like if I'm in the car, I'll just sing my lungs out, but nobody will hear me. And it's not that I sing bad, it's just I get embarrassed. Like, I think I've told you I'm embarrassed just like showing myself on screen right now. I'm like, oh, everyone's watching me.
So we're gonna have a super group that sings in the shower soon. That'll be awesome. Corey, what's your secret hidden talent?
I will watch like millions of hours of YouTube and still somehow manage to get most of my stuff done. I don't know. I think I've invented the 36-hour day. I'm not sure.
Are you Jen?
I feel like it's something. I can scroll down someone's Facebook feed where they click on a video and then there's video after video after video after video. I can be so far down. I don't remember whose page I was even on when I started. And then I'm like, okay, well, now I got to get back to work. And I can just, I don't know. I feed my ADD in little bites and then I can come back to other stuff.
Perfect. Will, we're out of time. What is your trivia question? Go.
Trivia question is, there is a little small movie that was done by a really big celebrity that has a very similar title to King in Black. What is the name of that movie?
Oh.
That's what
Here's how we'll do this. First person to message the EXP on Facebook will get, with the correct answer to Will's question, we'll get a copy. We'll get that copy of his one-off King in Black cover. How's that sound?
Yep, that's original art on that cover. Thank you, everybody.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everybody.
Coming up next, we have Raven Gregory. Everyone, stay tuned.
Woohoo.
All right, guys, we will be back in just about a minute with our final legend of the day, bringing it home with one of the greats, Raven Gregory. We'll be back in just about a minute.